Hello everyone, this is Pastor Katie from the First Presbyterian Church of Decatur, and I am coming to you today with day 18 of Jesse Tree, God's Big Advent Story. Today we're going to hear about Jonah. So before we get started, we're going to calm our heads and our hearts and our hands. Take a big deep breath in and let it out slowly. All right. So for Jonah has his own book in the Bible. But today I'm going to be reading the story out of Growing in God's Love. I'm on page 132. It's a story called Jonah Runs Away. So let's hear the story of Jonah. God gave Jonah a job to do that he didn't want. Jonah was a prophet of God. His job was to tell people what God told him. God said to Jonah, "Go to Nineveh and tell people there to stop doing harmful things. Tell them to say they are sorry, or I will punish them." But Jonah didn't want to go. Jonah was from Israel, and people from Israel didn't like people from Nineveh. Instead of doing what God asked, Jonah ran the other way. He paid his way to sail on a ship. He thought it would put him further away from God. Out at sea, a huge, scary storm blew up. Waves crashing over the side of the ship. Everyone was afraid. They all started praying to their gods, except Jonah. He was fast asleep below the deck of the ship. The captain found Jonah. He couldn't believe that Jonah was sleeping through this terrible storm. "What are you doing sleeping? Get up and pray." Jonah got up. He told everyone on the ship which God he worshipped. "I worship the Lord, the God of heaven." The sailors thought that Jonah was running away from God. This scared them. Jonah said, "You're right. I'm running away from God. Throw me overboard, and the storm will stop." The sailors tried to reach the shore, but they couldn't do it. Finally, they threw Jonah off the ship. At that moment, the storm stopped. The sailors worshipped Jonah's God. But God was with Jonah. A big fish came and swallowed Jonah up. While he was inside the big fish, Jonah prayed to God. And after 3 days, the big fish threw Jonah up onto the land. So I wonder why Jonah thought he could hide or run away from God. Why do you think a boat would get you further away from God? Why would Jonah do that? Sometimes we might want to run away, but I don't know that we actually would do it. I wonder why Jonah thought he could run away and where he was going, that God wouldn't find him. And then I wonder what it was like to be inside that big fish. Such a big fish. I wonder what it was like inside. It probably was pretty gross. I don't know that I would want to be inside that big fish for 3 days. That's a long time. But God was still with Jonah, and God protected Jonah. He was thrown overboard, and God made sure that Jonah was safe by putting him inside the whale, or the big fish. So today's picture is that of a fish, a big fish. Some people think it was a whale, some people think it was a big fish. We don't really know. I wasn't there. I'm old, but I'm not that old. All right, I'm going to put the fish right here. All right, to remind us of how God helped to save Jonah after God had given Jonah a special message. So before we close our time together, we're going to do a repeat after me prayer. So you are going to repeat after me. I'm worshiping you, God, calling out in thanksgiving. I'll do what I promised. Salvation belongs to God. Amen. That comes from Jonah chapter 2, verse 9 from the Message translation. That verse that we read together as a prayer. But I hope that you can pray out to God today whenever you feel like you might be in trouble, and know that God is always with you wherever you go. Thanks, folks, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow.